I gotta get my head. Oh. He's going back. He's going back. Oh.
A guy marooned on an island is spending 6 days showing you how to live off seafood. A 5 or 6 gene, 2.5 to 3 kilograms. Mangrove mud crab, juicy coral trout. If you get tired of grilled fish, you can even enjoy the taste of a giant lobster. Follow De Zhuang's survival and enjoy seafood feasts. Deserted island survival is a holiday. De Zhuang's back. Him and his dog on this island. No water, no food, no shelter. They're going to try to survive here. De Zhuang quickly notices it's low tide. If he's lucky, he might run into seafood. Machete in hand, heads into the mangroves to forage at low tide. Each low tide lasts 3 to 4 hours. With luck, you can haul in a big catch. With bad luck, you might lose your shirt, literally. This is a race against time hunt, but De Zhuang still needs a handy weapon. He plans to turn this tree branch into a spear. He needs to whittle one end to a point, so when prey shows up, he can jab at it. Over the next few days, De Zhuang will have to rely on his own skills to survive on this island. Very soon, he spots a small water hole in the ground, with a crab claw lying beside it. De Zhuang guesses the claw was lost in a fight over mating rights, and that there's probably a crab hiding in the hole. He's got a spear and a machete, but to prove what he can do, he decides to reach into the hole barehanded to grab the crab. 表面看是不起眼的小水坑，可大壮胳膊伸进去，摸不到底。If he accidentally steps in, he'd probably fall in completely, like a real-life deserted island horror. What shocked me was that De Zhuang still wouldn't give up on this hole. He even shoved his whole head in, fumbling around down there forever. 大壮摸了半天，一只螃蟹都没摸着，这水坑底下一塌糊涂。He's sure a big crab's holed up down there, but with what he's got now, there's just no way to dig it out. Why give up an entire mangrove forest for one crab? Here De Zhuang grabbed a glass bottle, but sadly it wasn't clear, so no way to use it to make fire. Once the tide receded, crabs hide under cover, so De Zhuang rummaged dead trees to find them. But the crabs here were way fewer than he'd pictured, so he kept combing the shoreline and found a dead fish. It smelled awful, stinking badly. De Zhuang guessed it had been dead a few days. Unless you were starving, you wouldn't eat it. He decided to use it as bait instead. He picked up a dead tree branch, planning to turn it into an automatic fishing rig. He tied one fishing line to the branch, but if you want to get enough food on a deserted island, a single line is nowhere near enough. So he kept adding more lines to the branch to up his odds of landing a catch. He then hacked the rotten fish into chunks for bait. And with that, the island's ultimate fishing rig was done. One branch bristling with lines. Calling it a fish harvesting machine is no exaggeration. De Zhuang took the automatic fishing rig to the shore and cast it out, then used a stick to secure it. After that, he could only wait for luck. He'd been on the island ages, and De Zhuang still hadn't tasted a mouthful. But the sun had baked him until he was dizzy and his face had gone pale. De Zhuang ducked into the shade to rest. He could only hope that the fishing rig would bring him some fish. After a short break, De Zhuang grabbed his spear and went crab hunting, diving into the mangroves to try again. A small pufferfish caught his eye. This thing is dumb and easy to grab, but you absolutely cannot treat it as food. The toxin in a pufferfish this small is enough to kill 30 adults. Mud was trampled with tracks, but he still couldn't spot a single crab. Wading through the mud was slowly sapping De Zhuang's remaining strength. He grabbed a tiny sea snail by a tree root. If he could find a bunch more, he could actually piece together a decent meal. But De Zhuang was already starving out of his mind. He couldn't wait to try sea snail sashimi. Even though eating it raw risked a gut infection, De Zhuang was starving and about to black out, so he decided to eat the snail raw to get energy. It tasted like clam with a bit of a salty flavor. Once he'd refueled, De Zhuang went back to searching for crabs. After several hours of hunting, he finally found a big mangrove crab. But now he felt dizzy and lightheaded, his whole body going numb, and he decided to try grabbing the crab with his bare hands.
All right, I got him.
Oh my goodness.
The primitive hunt was very risky. Without over 10 years of deserted island survival experience, no amateur can handle a mangrove bruiser. Flip it over and see its male. And the size was just right. Tonight's dinner was finally secured, but it wasn't time to cook. De Zhuang put the crab in a water hole to keep it alive. Taking advantage of the low tide, he continued exploring the mangroves. When the tide goes out, a lot of sea turtles get stranded in the mangroves. Male turtles aren't exactly geniuses. They often miss the tide window. The unlucky ones get stuck in the mangroves and end up dying of thirst or drowning. De Zhuang keeps exploring the area and comes across a waterproof tarp. Unfortunately, there are no crabs hiding inside, so he just packs the tarp up. Tonight, this tarp is all he has to block wind and rain. Out here, storms don't matter. The real killer out here is the scorching sun. so De Zhuang wants to rig the tarp into a shade. But since there's no sun at night on a deserted island, he decides to turn the tarp into a sleeping mat instead. 到了晚上，沙滩上小虾蟹比蚊子还吓人。大壮干脆把防水布铺在灌木上。Anyone who's slept rough on the streets knows this setup is comfortable. The island may look like paradise, but as night falls, as dusk falls, clouds of bugs rise. De Zhuang covers himself in mud. Sunbin, this trick works better than bug spray. With the sun about to set, De Zhuang heads off to check his automatic fishing rig, but the tide is already coming in. He gropes in the water and finds the rig's been swept away. In that instant, he feels like dying. A wave of despair hits him. The fish he'd been counting on are gone, which means he's destined to go hungry tonight. Surviving on a deserted island is never as easy as you think. Even survival expert De Zhuang still ends up with an empty stomach that first day. At dawn, he flips straight into ultimate hunting mode. He swears he's going to have a seafood feast on this island. Ultimate hunting mode means spending the entire day hunting, and he won't stop until real food is in his hands. This red drink is his power-up. Once he drinks it, he's ready to go. All fired up, De Zhuang officially kicks off the hunt as the tide slowly goes out. He's eyeing tidal flats, so he and the dog dive in and swim across. Relying on the dog, De Zhuang makes it across in one piece. The two share a look, hatch a wild idea. They sprinted off, startling a flock of seabirds into the air. This isn't what a normal person would do. After the tide goes out, many puddles appear on the beach, left by stingrays in the shallows. De Zhuang planned to hunt stingray to eat. The beach is covered with traces of stingrays. Before long, De Zhuang spots one. His spear just couldn't cut it. Stingrays were way tougher to catch than he'd thought. The dog's job was to fetch back the thrown spear, so man and dog work together like that. A crab darts by De Zhuang's feet, and before he can move, it's already vanished. Seeing catch after catch get away, De Zhuang is devastated and feels like dropping dead. Soon he spotted another stingray appearing on the beach. But when he got closer, he realized this stingray was huge, and its markings were really beautiful. De Zhuang decided to let it go. Speechless, asked to stay hungry. Later, De Zhuang met another stingray. Before he could hunt, he escaped. Look closely to see stingrays in the shallows. These things are huge. Before long, De Zhuang spots hundreds of crabs on the beach. These spider-like crabs are spider crabs, a kind of sand crab. De Zhuang grabs one and eats it as sashimi. That one bite nearly sent his soul flying. I was cracking up so hard I almost spat out last night's dinner. He can't keep this up. If he does, De Zhuang will starve on this deserted island. He snatches up his spear and returns to the shallows to hunt, spotting a big green crab in the water. The tide's out. Water barely reaches his calves. De Zhuang pins the crab with his spear, then reaches in from the tail and grabs it with his hand. It's a female crab. You can see from the belly it's a female. Remembering his sustainable resources rule, De Zhuang lets the crab go, and dark clouds gather on the horizon. 乌云压顶，大雨说来就来。对在野外求生的人来说，这场大雨就是救命水。De Zhuang stands in the downpour, sipping rainwater as sand crabs swarm ashore, and the shallows fill up with crabs. He quickly spots another one, but it turns out to be an orchid crab. Little meat, but really tasty. De Zhuang fails to catch it, which is a real shame. By this point, he hasn't eaten anything for 2 days. Right when he's about to lose it, a new chance pops up.
Missed him. Oh, no. No.
Seeing De Zhuang's hunt, the stingray takes spear after spear, yet still slips away. That Ray survival instinct is insane, but De Zhuang's hunting skills are garbage. Can't catch food? Serves you right, being this handsome. Just as he gives up and gets ready to head back, a crab walks right past in front of him. This big green crab becomes De Zhuang's lucky dinner, the spear going straight through its shell. When he cleans the crab, he throws away the shell and all the roe inside. Premium crab, wasted. De Zhuang digs a pit and starts a fire. He's starving crazy, and on a deserted island, fancy ingredients usually end up on the grill. He just throws the crab straight on the fire. Under the heat, it slowly starts to give off a rich aroma. Once the 2 claws are cooked, he lets the dog take the first bite and his viewers the second. Seeing how bare bones it is, De Zhuang decides to head out tomorrow to try his luck elsewhere on the island. A good day ends with him enjoying dinner. The previous 2 days, he nearly starved from spear hunting. Early this morning, De Zhuang pulled out his diving gear. He wants to dive and hunt a fish for breakfast, or he'll really starve on this deserted island. Spear gun in hand, De Zhuang dives in a hunt. In the shallows, many fish appear like a seafood buffet. 多到挑花了耶！大壮猫在礁石边 Fish swarm past in droves, but picky De Zhuang still can't pick one to strike. Seeing him starve like this, you really don't have to pity him. After ages, he finally locks onto a grouper. Of course, he goes straight for the premium stuff. Grouper, also known as coral trout, with soft, tasty meat and ranks among island survivalists' top sea fish. That's why De Zhuang is willing to wait an hour or two just for a shot at it. A coral trout this size would go for about $200 per kilo at the market. But De Zhuang isn't satisfied. He wants seafood freedom. He snatches up a spear gun and dives back in. One more shot under the reef, but the fish jams itself deep in the rocks. No matter how hard he tugs, the fish won't budge, and the blood in the water draws in sharks. De Zhuang dives down, reaches into the crevice, and yanks the spear free. But the fish has broken free and escaped. On a deserted island, every hunt is hard-won. Losing food has him fuming, but he still refuses to quit. He slips between the reefs, patiently lying in wait for the next target. Persistence paid off, and De Zhuang landed a second fish. It was a reef fish, locally called one-island sea bass, sporting striking yellow-black stripes. Locally, this sea bass is a rare catch. In over 10 years of island survival, De Zhuang has seen it a few times. He never expected such luck today. Bagging 2 rare reef fish, he quickly lit a fire on the shore, eager to eat a grilled fish feast. As the fire burned down to coals, De Zhuang prepped the fish. On a deserted island, you don't need to scale fish to grill. You just gut them, then butterfly the fish so it cooks through more easily. He rigged up a simple grill over the fire and laid the cleaned reef fish right on top to smoke and roast. The fish wasn't quite ready yet, and De Zhuang was already starving. As it sizzled over the high heat, it began to give off a mouth-watering aroma. After going hungry for 2 days, he was finally going to have a feast. While waiting for the fish to cook, De Zhuang noticed a conch shell washed up by the waves. The shell was nearly flawless and larger than a human head. Definitely something he could sell for a good price. The fish looked amazing. De Zhuang tore off a chunk of meat and shoved it straight in. The flavor was unreal, and with his stomach full, he was sure he'd sleep well. At dawn on the 4th day, De Zhuang headed back to the mangroves. He'd come up empty there the past few days. He vowed not to leave hungry this time. The tide was already low, so it was prime time to work the shoreline. By a tree hollow, he noticed some white clams, a favorite food of crabs. So there was a good chance crabs were nearby. But crabs are masters of camouflage. Soon he spotted a small crab on the ground. Its color blended into the sand. Without staring, you'd never notice it. All around were puddles from the receding tide. After the tide goes out, crabs hide in puddles. So De Zhuang checked each with a machete. When a metal blade hits a crab's shell, it makes a different sound. Using this trick, De Zhuang quickly located a crab. He tapped the puddle with his knife and instantly felt something hard below. De Zhuang was sure there was a crab under the water. But when he dug it out with the knife, he realized this crab had already lost a claw, and it was a female. A missing claw means it's been in a fight, so he could tell this was a fighting crab female. True to his sustainable harvesting rule, De Zhuang let this female crab go. As he kept hunting for more crabs, the water suddenly surged back in. The tide was flooding, and his window to scour the flats was closing. He hadn't found a green crab, and little crabs were everywhere. They're not worth much as food, but they'd look great in a fish tank. Plus clownfish were there. Wouldn't it be cooler to bring the anemone and its clownfish home together? De Zhuang scooped up a soft, squishy thing from a tidal channel. Anyone know what this is? They were everywhere and looked like some kind of critter. The tide was shooting up fast, and soon the water was at his waist. As the tide climbed, more goodies appeared. Sea cucumbers and tiny oysters.
Creamy, salty. I'm actually getting to love oysters. I hated them back before. When they're underwater and they're fresh and they're salty.
Tasted salty. Shame there was too little meat. As the tide rose, many spots were completely submerged, but De Zhuang still didn't give up on finding crabs. Before he even got close, he spotted a crab sitting in a little puddle ahead of him.
Oh yeah, we got a crab, we got a crab. It's under this bridge. Yeah, we got it, I pinned it. Oh my goodness, man.
We got a big crab right there, but it's a female.
Good news, De Zhuang nabbed a big green crab. Bad news, it's still a female. Her claws are smaller than a male's. And though De Zhuang's starving now, he chooses to release her. Starving and delirious, he cracks open an energy drink, believing it'll give him a buff. Every time he's starving, De Zhuang does this. I'm long used to his crazy antics. After topping up energy, De Zhuang continues searching for crabs in the mangroves. Heaven never lets down those who work hard. Another crab takes a shine to De Zhuang, and this one's fierce. It lifted its claws high out of the water. Odds were this crab was a male. De Zhuang reaches out to grab it, but the crab fights back hard.
Oh, jeez. He nearly just got me. Oh, jeez. I gotta get my head. Oh, no. Where is he? He's going back. He's going back. Oh.
Only after he hauls the crab out of the water can he clearly see just how big it is. This was a monster, a male crab. His hope for surviving on the deserted island. His hope is fully lit again. To De Zhuang, this crab is not just a dinner, but a hope to keep surviving on this deserted island. A male crab claws are bigger than a female's, and the meat is tender and juicy. If this guy showed up at a wet market, some shady seller would have its claws trussed up in arm-thick rope. To stay safe, De Zhuang quickly sends a crab away. This almost 3-gene crab was plenty for De Zhuang to eat his fill. Back on the beach, De Zhuang digs a pit, lights a fire, and starts cooking. On a deserted island, there's plenty of firewood. With enough wood, you can roast the crab to deliciousness. After being stranded for several days, De Zhuang can finally have a crab feast today. Charcoal ready. De Zhuang tosses the crab onto the embers, and the shell blushes red. The claws still twitch while the juices inside the body drain out. Once the whole shell turns bright red, it means the crab is done. De Zhuang twists off a claw, strips the shell, and a lump of crab meat comes out. It's unbelievably tempting. He's craved this one bite for days. Today he gets his wish. On day 5, De Zhuang decides to hunt diving. Crab might be delicious, but it's not filling, and hunting them eats up way too much time. He does a quick sweep along the beach. Aside from a conch shell bigger than a human head, there's nothing of real value. Surf's pounding the shore, and sometimes fish burst out. De Zhuang takes a shot with his crossbow, but comes up empty. He goes into the sea to hunt underwater. There are many reefs here, so the odds of finding lobster are pretty high. A big, black sea cucumber catches his eye. De Zhuang grabs it, and the moment it hits the air, the tail blasts out a spray of water. He calls these sea cucumbers water guns because they squirt like a water pistol, but he doesn't really like eating them. He keeps diving, looking for other targets, and stops in front of a reef cave. Spots are lobster hideouts, so De Zhuang searches around the cave mouth, hoping to bag a big lobster, but that really comes down to luck. In this seafood-rich sea, De Zhuang gets picky again, sprawls on the reef, and just waits for something to swim by. Another coral trout. De Zhuang resets and dives for another hunt. A few stingrays glide past. On day 1 here, they were the catch he wanted most. This time, when he spots them, he doesn't think twice and drops one right there. Today's haul was pretty impressive. A 5 or 6 gene stingray and a grouper. Just seeing that coral trout's bright colors was enough to make your mouth water. The spotted reef fish was today's main dish. A true camouflage expert, its colors and spots blend right into the sandy seabed. Its round body looks quite cute, but the venomous spine on its tail is deadly. Get poked by it, and you'll be in agony. These fish are everywhere, but fishermen usually don't bother targeting them. The cooking method for these 2 fish today is still simple charcoal grilling for the grouper. The stingray's meat is along the flanks, so De Zhuang ran his machete down each side and shave it off. Check out the thick, silky fillet, grilled or pan-fried. It's amazing. With the fish ready, he just grabbed some driftwood along the shore for the grill. Making dinner is when De Zhuang's happiest. He grabbed a branch, whittled it into a skewer, and slid the grouper right on, then stuck it beside the fire to grill. The remaining stingray meat went on the fire the same way. Sure enough, premium ingredients only need the simplest cooking. As the fish sizzled, De Zhuang examined the stingray's tail spine. To ordinary people, the spine is dangerous in De Zhuang's eyes. It's a perfect hunting weapon. He uses knife to cut the spine off. The stingray's tail spine has barbs, so when it hits prey, the spine hooks into flesh and won't come loose. De Zhuang lashed the barbed spine to a branch, turning it into a vicious little dagger. He's sure that with this weapon, he'll bag big prey with it tomorrow. Meanwhile, the fish on the grill were nearly ready. De Zhuang hacked open a coconut for a drink. By then, the fish on the grill was done. The golden, crispy skin smelled amazing. He gently peeled it back, and the meat inside was white and silky, very good. This golden grilled snapper, just seeing it made your mouth water, the flesh glistening with fat. He tore into it. Like pulled pork, the snapper came apart in fine strands. The taste leaned toward shellfish, but But De Zhuang wasn't a fan of this kind of meat. He couldn't wait to try his new weapon. So he snatched up a spear and plunged into the sea. The fish swarming behind him left him dumbfounded. In a scene like this, a small weapon was useless. The real star of this hunt would still be the crossbow. A mackerel swam into view, and De Zhuang shot without a second thought. That shot hit square on. No way that mackerel was living through it, no matter how hard it thrashed. Its fate was set. It would become the ultimate grilled fish. De Zhuang kept reaching to grab it, but it kept slipping away. Stop struggling, or you'll make me mad, and I'll just eat you raw. Getting eaten raw hurts. After many rounds of persuasion, the mackerel agreed to take a lunchbox and ascend to heaven. This catch was a real jackpot, a mackerel over 10 gene, with a thick, powerful build made to rocket through water. Fish like this taste amazing, so landing one today was a real win. As for the locals behind De Zhuang, we can ignore them. They're just islanders who live nearby. They just came over to the island for some routine work. De Zhuang wanted to ask the local guy to stay for dinner, but the guy declined. With such a big fish today, he stacked the fire to about half a meter high. While the coals heated up, he got the fish ready. A fish this size is tough to cook through whole, but chopping into big pieces makes grilling easier. De Zhuang hacked off the fish's mouth, its sharp teeth looking downright intimidating. He then used those teeth to cut up the fish and was surprised by how sharp they were. De Zhuang cut off the best part of the fish, and the charcoal was ready. He tossed the fish chunks right on the grate, ready for another over-the-top barbecue feast. Thick fish steaks, a few centimeters thick, gave off a rich aroma as they sizzled over high heat. You gotta turn the fish as it grills, and in just 10 minutes, the fish was done. Any longer, and the flesh would have turned dry and tough. Just look at tonight's barbecue spread. It's definitely a feast. After the first bite, De Zhuang fell in love with island life. If he could feast on grilled meat this good every day, he'd happily stay on this island for life. Another day passed as De Zhuang savored his fish dinner. At day 6 dawn, De Zhuang got up and dove into the sea to hunt. Today his goal was a big lobster. Wearing a pair of gloves, he headed to the mangroves to look for his target. The tide wasn't low, the water was over a meter deep, and De Zhuang combed along the mangrove roots. But forget big lobsters. He couldn't see any sea fish, so he headed for the reef instead. Any seasoned lobster eater knows. Big lobsters hide under rock ledges and in reef holes. De Zhuang searched but came up empty-handed. Annoyed, he snatched up a pufferfish to mess around. Playing is fun, but the lobster hunt is still his mission. Soon enough, De Zhuang found a lobster, probably still half asleep. He grabbed it by the antennae. The lobster woke up and tried to struggle, but it was too late. This 10-gene giant lobster was clearly set to be De Zhuang's dinner tonight. Today was a day of big gains, and this lobster fired De Zhuang. The lobster's shell blended perfectly with the colors of the reef. Blink and you'd miss a rainbow giant hiding in the reef, and the tail meat alone can feed De Zhuang. He can't wait another second to taste this big lobster. Before digging in, De Zhuang shares a few fun facts with us. Whenever I caught a lobster and heard noises, I always thought it was crying. Turns out it's just the sound of its antennae rubbing. Another possibility is the sound made when the tail muscles snap hard. Top-notch ingredients end up on the grill. Same method, same flavor. De Zhuang stacked reef rocks into a fire pit and gathered firewood. He somehow got his hands on a wild pineapple. Pineapple with lobster for dinner. What a combo. Peel the pineapple and dig in. No saltwater soak required. De Zhuang splits the lobster open, and you can see it's almost nothing but meat inside the shell. Once the charcoal is ready, he lays the lobster on the grill and tosses the pineapple leaves on a roast. He's been on this deserted island for a week. Today he gets to enjoy a lobster feast. The aroma of lobster drifts across the island. The tide laps at his feet. A showdown between the lobster finishing on the grill and waves snuffing the fire. Just then the lobster's ready. De Zhuang rips off a hunk of meat and eats it. He blurts this is the best meat he's had since washing up here. What a jerk. He literally said the same thing a few days back eating that coral trout. That's it for this episode. If you want more deserted island survival videos, hit like and subscribe to catch the new season of my survival series.